must be going. I cannot stay, I came to say I must be going. I'm glad I came, but just the same, I must be going. Very interesting, always looking at the broads in the front two rows.
Now, wait a minute. I can't help noticing your hat.
My hat? I don't understand that. What's wrong with it?
It has curious little people on the top.
Well, I'll tell you, this is in deference to the golf tournament that's going on in the vast west part of America. No, and I wore this when I played golf, and it distracted the caddy from watching me play. Never could find the ball, except the one up here. They said I had plenty on the ball, but it was on my hat.
I understand.
Some colloquialism like that. How you been?
Good. I've been fine. It's nice to see you in New York.
I'm glad you're back on the air, and the proper time, too.
Yeah?
Not at 4 o'clock in the morning. Whenever I saw your show last year, I was eating oatmeal. That's what they call prime time in California. That isn't all they called it either. Well, you look fine, and this show's going to be a big hit because you're on at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
A lot of people are going to watch it.
I'm on at 9 Central Time.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would go from here to arsoning.
Would you?
As far as I would go. Do you know anything about arsoning?
Not a thing. If you asked me about arsoning, I would be stumped.
Yeah. How long since you've been stumped? I don't know.
No. I see. I don't know what's happening.
Well, how are you? That's the main thing.
I'm fine.
Somebody once said there's only two things that are important, sickness and death. And since you don't have either of them, you should be very happy.
It's odd to see you in New York. You're usually in California.
It's odd to see me?
No, odd to see you in New York.
Yes, I don't come here very often anymore. This is my birthplace.
That's right. I was
born in 78th Street, between Lexington and Third. And then we moved to 93rd Street, and I lived there for about 14 years.
Mm-hmm. I was there the other day. They're tearing down part of your old neighborhood.
This is not just a coincidence, you know. They've torn everything down. They've turned the school that I used to go to. That was at 96th Street and Lexington Avenue, PS 86. Royal Piper was something that they used to holler. Mm-hmm. They hollered other things at me. You know, we used to go to school in the morning. My mother always fixed sandwiches for us in the morning to go to school because we lived in 93rd and the school was at 93rd. But by the time we got to school, we were hungry again. So we always ate our lunch, and then we went home and had lunch again in 93rd. My mother was always so astonished. She said, I prepared lunch for you. Why don't you eat it? She says, we ate that on the way to school. This is why I didn't get an education.
They're tearing down a brewery. Was that a favorite of yours? I
had an uncle that used to work there. He was a private detective in a brewery that makes draft beer. It was called Rupert's.
Yeah, that's the one.
And I don't understand a brewery having a detective. What does he steal in there, draft beer?
I don't know.
Of course, it was during the war. It was the First World War, and he was probably in the draft, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of silly to waste time on that one. Silly to waste time on this whole show. Yeah.
I don't know how to
You know, there's only one men's room in the whole building here. And that's for women. Boy, there's nothing like a thrifty network. Eh?
I don't know how to apologize for that.
Well,
there is only...
It isn't your responsibility. You weren't hired for that purpose.
No.
What purpose for, I never will understand.
Glad you cleared that up.
Yes.
You claim to have mellowed over the years and all that, but I had dinner with...
So?
Well, not so much. We had dinner at the Colony the other night. Or I shouldn't mention the restaurant.
Yeah, no, not only that, you lifted the tab, too.
Well, it's a very dignified place.
Me.
Well, you wore a napkin on your head during dinner. This is true,
like
folks.
Air conditioning.
That's right.
Air conditioning. I catch a cold if there's air conditioning. As soon as I walk into a restaurant, I say, put me someplace where there's no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Luckily, they had no such place at the colony. But there was $10 laying on the floor, which you tried to steal.
He's not making this up. There was a family of Germans at
That's
the next
true.
table, and one of them dropped money out of his pocket, and I saw it, and I said,
Not
"What?"
deliberately.
No.
No, he had so much money, some of it kept flowing out. That's it. It's like the United States government.
Anyway, I picked it up, and Groucho held it out to the man and said, I thought you might not be able to pay for your check. He looked astounded in German.
That's true.
Yeah.
By the way, he didn't have any money for the check. I think you paid it.
As a matter of fact,
It's a wonderful restaurant.
he jokingly...
I hope next time we'll get in free after this short plug.
I would think so.
I tried that once at Horn and Hardest, and they threw me out. I said, slot machine or no slot machine, you pay cash here.
Do you find it hard to be funny at any certain time of day? I know when you made
No,
films...
not if you get a glorious audience like this. No, I can be funny most of the time.
When you made films, though, you had to get up very, very early and
Yes,
be funny.
that's why I objected to making... I made 18, 19 pictures. Yeah. I mean that. I don't mean that was the year we made them, 18. It's even worse for women, you know, in the movies. They have to get up at 5 in the morning.
How do they look?
Well, I've never seen them naked, but I imagine...
No, I meant how...
No, but they... you know, they used to have men put the body paint on for the women.
Really?
And then the unions got onto that, and they stopped it. Somebody stopped it. I think it was the Vice Squad.
That was the golden age of cinema.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Theda Bara. Did I ever tell you about Theda Bara? Not Theda Bara.
Garbo?
Greta Garbo. Did I ever tell you the story of her, the Thalberg building in New York?
I don't think so. Would you
in
like to?
California, yeah. She used to affect very big hats. She was a very shy woman. She really was. And she had these big hats. And they had, this was a 6th-floor building, the Thalberg building in Los Angeles. And she would back into the elevator if she had to go to the elevator because she didn't want anybody to see her or talk to her. She was such a big star. I was standing in the elevator, too, and she backed in. I didn't know who it was. And I took the back of her hat, which was a way up here, like this, and I took the back and I lifted it down until her whole face was covered. And she was furious. And she lifted the hat up and she looked at me and gave me a withering look. And I says, I'm terribly sorry. I thought you were a fellow I knew from Kansas City. That's a true story.
It's a nice story.
Yes. I met her subsequently, about 10 years later at a party, and we discussed this, and she was very nice about it. Yeah. She had big feet, but she was a nice woman.
You have a lot of things happen to you in elevators.
Yes, this is true.
I noticed that you were telling me the other day a lady flirted with you, I think, in your hotel elevator. And
frequently, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that...
I had one come up to me the other day and say, aren't you Groucho Marx? And I said, yes. She says, may I kiss you? I says, feel free. I was feeling free at the same time. And she invited me up to her room, but I didn't want to go. She was an old babe. She was around 24 or something.
Yes, that can be dangerous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had in the Plaza Hotel once, when I was doing the quiz show, there was a priest in the elevator. I hope you're not offended by this, because I would just as lief tell a story about a rabbi, but it doesn't fit. Neither did the rabbi, and they finally threw him out of the synagogue.
But what happened?
Anyhow, this priest said to me, he says, aren't you Groucho Marx? And I says, yes. He says, gee, my mother's crazy about you. And I says, really? I didn't know you fellas had mothers.
What can I say?
I had a priest stop me up in Montreal some years ago. And he came up to me and says, aren't you Groucho Marx? And I says, yes. He says, may I shake your hand? I says, fine. I shook hands with him. He said, I want to thank you for all the joy you've put into the world. And I says, I want to thank you for all the joy you've taken out of it.
We'll be back, though, after that. Stay there.